G'day, Starlo here. I'm on the frying pan arm of Lake Yucumbean in the Snowy Mountains of New South Wales, and it's quite early in the morning. The sun's only been up for about 45 minutes and it's very cold, single digits. The breeze has got a real edge to it. But what I'm going to do today is walk the bank and spin for trout. I've got a light spinning outfit with me, little 1000 size Vanford reel on one of these T-Curve rods. It's the long cast rod, so it's actually quite long, 7 foot 8 inches, and I like a little bit of length for shore casting. And I'm going to walk a fair way today around the bank here, past frying pan arm, and I'm going to probe the shallows with various lures. I'm starting off with a shallow to medium depth running minnow. I'll try a few other things as well, see if we can find a few trout. This will be fun. I'm wearing camo gear to help conceal my presence from the trout, and I'm completely mobile with everything I need for the day safely stashed in my small backpack. I love this style of fishing. It's just me, the lake, and hopefully a few willing trout. There could be fish anywhere out here, but with so much water to potentially cover, I'll try to optimise my chances by focusing on the most likely areas, which include the zones adjacent to structural elements such as logs, boulders and rocky ledges. These are all happy hunting grounds for trout and anglers. I cast my little lure as far as I can, crank it down to its running depth, and then vary the retrieve to hopefully imitate something edible. Keeping my rod tip down low helps maintain the lure's depth, and I work it all the way to my feet. Hits could come anywhere through the retrieve. A few trollers are heading out in their boats too. That's one of the great things about our big alpine lakes. They're suited to all manner of fishing styles. Nothing at this first spot, so I'll keep moving. In my experience, you'll do best by covering water, and that can involve racking up quite a few kilometres across the day. But it's a very pleasant way to fish, and also a great way to enjoy the unique Australian high country. All this ground would be underwater if the lake was full, but it's currently at about 50% capacity, which makes it pretty easy to tramp along the banks and cover the quays. I like the look of that next rocky point too, but I won't rush straight up to it. Notice how I make my first casts well back from the edge, just in case there's a fish right up here in the shallows. You don't want to barge down and spook it. I move forward towards the water's edge after that first exploratory cast. This is a really good looking edge here. Drops away, not too fast, but steps down nicely, and there's some rock, broken sand, gravel, bit of a mixture of terrain, which I really like. I hope the trout agree. So far, nothing, but the day's young. I mix up my retrieves quite a bit too. It's not just a steady crank. I'll build pauses into it and flicks of the rod tip, just to make that lure jink and dart look like an injured bait fish. Far more likely to incite a strike that way. Something I'll be doing a lot of today as well is casting along the shore rather than straight out. Straight out can be good, but it's definitely worth probing those shallower areas along the shore as well. A little bit of fast stuff doesn't hurt either. Then slow it right down, then fast again. Just mix it up all the time. Every cast I try and cover new water. In my experience, a trout will usually respond the first time it sees or senses the lure, so there's not a lot of point in pounding away at one spot. I'm also really aware to watch for my lure as soon as it comes into sight, just in case there's a trout following it. And I might be able to incite that trout to strike. The combination of clear water and my Mako polarised sunglasses really helps with this. If I think I'm getting into really shallow water and I start bumping the bottom, I'll pause, let that lure float up a little bit, and then keep the rod tip up. Just make the lure run a little bit more shallow so that it doesn't hang up on the bottom. Okay, let's push on. I can see another prime spot up ahead, and once again I make a probing cast from well back. Now, if I can use a bit of structure like this rock to cover my silhouette and stop my shadow from falling on the water, then I'll do so, because the shadow of this rock would be a great place for a trout to be lurking. And this way, it's not likely to see me. But it doesn't seem like there's anyone home. They're not coming easily today. But I'm certainly not giving up. I'm confident that if I keep doing this, I will find fish. One of the other reasons I'll cast down along the shore is to cover areas that I might otherwise spook when I walk down there. So I'll cover the water before I get to it. This is a great tip, and one that far too many shore fishers overlook. It can spell the difference between success and failure, although it does mean that your lure will often end up in very shallow water. I'm regularly picking up bits of weed and vegetation like this, and it's really important to get it off the hooks because it ruins the action of the lure. One thing about walking reasonably briskly between likely spots is that it's slowly warming me up on this rather chilly spring morning. But I'm still glad I'm dressed for the conditions. It's most definitely not shorts and thongs country, not today anyway. How good does this bouldery stretch of water look? And sure enough... follow. He hung well back behind it though. I make a short cast out in the direction where the trout peeled off. But no joy. And I very much doubt you'd have seen that one. He was down quite deep behind the lure. Looked like a nice brownie. One more down this way. Oh yes, that was a definite hit. Oh, just didn't hook up. He whacked it. I knew there'd have to be a fish here. It just looks so good. But I need to pin one now. Oh yes, 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 yes. Oh, he was pretty close to shore. Oh, he's all in amongst the rocks. Not a big fish, but a nice start. What are you? It's a little brownie. Gee, whack that for his size. Really silvery little fish. Look at that. Oh, he's so cold. Luckily he's only very lightly hooked. Look at that, came straight out. I'll let him go in the shallows here and we can watch him zoom out. Off you go, mate. Oh, I wonder if there's any more out there. I reckon there might be. I seem to have found a bit of a concentration of them. Try one down along this way. Oh, it's finally warming up enough. I think I can take my hood off. Oh, that's better. Oh, yes. Oh, he's a big fish. He was right behind it. That was a hit. I wasn't 100% sure, I'll cast out in the direction that the trout headed and see if I can attract its attention again. Fingers crossed. Here he comes, here he comes. Oh, he's a big fish. He didn't take it. I don't know if you would have seen him. Here's a lovely big fish. I don't think he'll have another crack. Wow, that wind's not helping either. He went out that way. I think I've definitely found a few fish. Try one more down that way. But I didn't see that fish again, or any more right here. To be honest, I'd probably have been smarter to swap lures after that first follow. It really doesn't pay to keep throwing the same thing at them and hoping for a different outcome. A quick change-up is often the key. I think he's awake up to me. I'll keep moving and hopefully find some more trout. I'm really liking this terrain with its mix of rock, gravel, sand and timber. I reckon the fish would like it too. Trout aren't always as structure-oriented as natives like bass and Murray cod, but they'll certainly hang around close to snags or boulders at times, especially those brownies. Notice how I keep fanning my casts around too, to constantly cover new water. That's really important. Okay, let's move on. Wow, how cool is this stretch? A drowned forest. I reckon it'd fish really well when the water level was a metre or two higher, but maybe not so much today. However, trout can turn up anywhere and it pays to really scan the shallows. I've just spotted an absolute cracker cruising very slowly in the shallows to my right. Oh my God. I minimise my movement, keep the rod down, crank the lure in and throw a low, flat, short cast out beyond the cruiser. Will it respond? Watch carefully. He's on it, he's on it, he's on it. Oh, he's a big trout. But sadly, that big fish didn't come back. I've turned around now and begun working my way back towards the car 3 or 4 kilometres away. I plan to try and fish some of the terrain that I bypassed on my outbound leg, including the backs of some of the shallower bays, and almost immediately this strategy pays off. Yep. Oh, dropped him. Bugger. Hopefully there might be another one in the same bay. Oh, yes. Oh, he whacked that. It's the middle of the day now and the sun's really bright. And I've just hooked 2 fish in about 4 or 5 casts in the back of this bay. This is not a bad one. I don't think it's as big as the first one that I hit. Keeping the rod down discourages them from jumping. I want to land this one. Just back the drag off a little bit. Oh, it's not a bad fish. Oh, it's going hard. It's been pretty hard work. I had that action early and then a really quiet patch. And now, in the middle of the day, a couple of hits. So I'll keep working the backs of these bays where the wind's blowing into them. Yeah, this is not a huge fish, but he's pulling hard. I'd say it's a brownie, and it's managed to get itself foul hooked, which is why it's pulling so hard. It's hooked itself in the side of the body. May have even pulled the hook early in the fight and re-embedded. I'll just take him very gently because I don't know how much of a hold I've got on him. Oh, he's a nice chunky little brown. It just goes to show, even in the middle of the day, when it's bright and sunny, they'll still be up here in this shallow water. You've just got to stay well back, cast well ahead, and you will keep catching them. Come on, mate. It's hard to guide him up when he's hooked in the side like that. Oh, I thought he was a much better fish than that. Still a handsome fish, and a tricky one to get hold of without getting the hook in myself. Should come out fairly easily. Yeah, it's an unusual hook up, that one. One I hooked just before him was a much better fish. I only had it on for a few seconds. There we go. Nice silvery, a bit dirty. Give him a wash for you. Look at how silvery that brown trout is. All right, I'll get him back in. There he goes. Nice. All right, I want a big one now. And a short time later, I got my chance at exactly that. Oh, there's one. There's a bloody beauty. I've sighted a serious brown cruising the edge. He's gone for it, he's gone for it, he's on it. Oh. Why won't he eat it? Oh. Phew, that was nerve-wracking stuff. With shaking hands, I fire out another cast. He's on it, he's on it, he's on it. Followed it again. He will not eat it. I'll try something different on him, I think. Let him settle down, see if he comes back. Maybe try a soft plastic on him. And that's exactly what I did, rigging a small squidgy on a light jig head and casting it into the area where I'd first spotted that big trout. Would it come back? I wasn't overly hopeful, but you never know. Here he comes. Oh, he ate it. And I didn't hook him. He ate it dead off the bottom. Oh. He probably won't eat that again. Damn. This fish. That's what he wanted. Soft plastic. Oh, that was exciting. I couldn't work out where it was lying on the bottom. I could see him circling, and then the next minute he just grabbed it. He's not going to come back for it now. Oh, what a shame. That would have been perfect. Yep, the perfect way to finish this episode. But life's very rarely perfect, and fishing even less so. Maybe that's why I keep coming back again and again, chasing the dream and living in eternal hope. Had my chance, blew it. It happens. What a day it had been. Well, I'm nearly back to the car. I covered a few kilometres today. It's been a really tough one. I only landed a couple of fish, dropped a couple, missed a couple. Had my chances. But, you know, it's still a really nice way to spend the day, just walking the bank of one of these lakes, throwing a lure, and some days it can be really productive. Wasn't to be today, but I still hope you learnt a few lessons from some of the things that I showed you about where to look for the trout and how to catch them when you're walking the shorelines. If you enjoyed this, give me a thumbs up down below, and if you don't already subscribe to the channel, please do so. It really helps. Anyway, I'll catch you next time somewhere in the wonderful world of fishing, and until then, this is Starlo wishing you tight lines. Oh, and by the way, if you'd like a free PDF download of the 5 key lessons from this episode, I'll put a link to one in the description and comments down below. And here are a couple of other episodes I reckon you might really enjoy watching. I hope so. Anyway, cheers for now. I'll catch you later.